Hello and welcome to the Lion's Den. I'm your host Matt, as always, and welcome to the week where the weather starts getting better. I seem to be doing a bit of a weather forecast every now and again, and if you can hear a clicking, that is because there's a clock in this room. But anyway, yeah, the weather's finally getting warmer, which is nice. Means I'm not freezing cold in the morning when I'm walking to the gym, as I've complained in the past. Anyway, random thoughts this week. So the first thing to talk about is soap. Now I've had this thought whilst I was in the shower because that's where I generally use soap. And I think the hallmark of a good soap is how well it meshes with more of itself. So you know when you get to the end of a bar of soap, you feel this like really stupid little sliver of soap. And you can't really do anything with it. You can't really move it around in your hands to get much of a lather, to then wash yourself. So I think the best hallmark of whether it's good soap or not is if you then get a new bar, how easily can you combine them together so that you're not wasting anything? And also, can manufacturers stop packaging scents in a really stupid way? Because I remember previously I bought soap, so I bought just like generic, clean soap smell. But the packaging for the brand I had a very similar looking one. It was a very slight different shade of blue, I think, that smelled like aloe vera. That was fun when I opened the package and it smelled completely different. So, can they just fix that? Make it way more obvious so that when you go in and just grab something, it's not immediately the wrong thing when you thought it was something else. Yeah, that's always fun. And I mean, for me as well, soap is just kind of a potluck thing because I suffer from a bit of eczema, specifically on my elbows and my hands and my face. So practically every time I get out of the shower, I have to immediately put moisturizer all over my face and my elbows. Otherwise, I get this thing where I'll walk outside and my face will be really dry and tense. And if I don't moisturize, that's really kind of irritating and painful. Eventually, it settles down as my face kind of fixes itself and brings moisture up from wherever in my body. But yeah, bad soap just makes that worse and not nearly as fun. So this was a random thought I had the other day whilst I was walking to the gym. Layers of clothing are very bizarre. So it's really easy to add layers to your top half. You can just throw on a jacket, on a coat, maybe I don't know, a scarf or something. But you can't really do that for legs. There is no jacket for legs. And that's a problem because this goes back to the whole gym thing again. If I want to go to the gym and not have to get changed, I can layer up my top half when it's cold, but I can't layer up my bottom half because there's my shoes in the way. And like, bottom part of your clothing tends to be way less, I don't know, forgiving. It's not as thin as the top half. So like shorts tend to be kind of a bit baggy and whatnot, unless you've got sports shorts, which are even worse in colder weather. And I mean, there's probably a lot of technical limitations with why you can't have layers for your for your bottom half. I mean, how would a jacket for your legs work? Because you probably need maybe zips down the legs as well as around the waist area. I think that's just the chief problem is there's too many holes that you need for trousers, and therefore turning that into something that you can then unzip and zip back up would require an inordinate amount of zips, making it just kind of not not practical in the end. Because obviously a jacket only requires one zipper or buttons or something, so there's always that. Another thing I saw as I was traveling to the gym, really weird thing actually, was this what they called footprint tunnel. So it was just this triangular shaped prism that had holes on either end to open, and a little note on it saying it was a footprint tunnel. And I think it was designed for like hedgehogs or any other small creatures, so that they'd track through it and they could, I don't know, maybe get a count of how many were going through it and what was going through it, maybe how big it was. I just thought it was cute. So here's a fun little story from my past because I saw someone mention it, or I think I heard it on a podcast. So there is such a thing as Quidditch in real life, not just the thing from Harry Potter. The sport that they fly around on brooms. There is a legitimate version you can play in real life, and I've played it, and it's genuinely hilarious. It's really tiring, but it's hilarious. And to answer your first question, yeah, there are brooms involved. So we just had a bunch of like broom handles, or maybe even brushes and brooms that you then you basically have to carry between your legs and run around and support. You can't walk with it on the side. You can't just leave it. You do have to have it between your legs and run around like you're flying on it, which is chiefly difficult when you're also then trying to hold a ball to throw through some hoops. And yeah, there are hoops. That's the fun part. So you end up having you just take some long sticks, attach hula hoops or very small plastic hoops to them. That's what you throw through. So it's kind of like netball, sort of. I can't remember if in netball you can't move. I think you can't move. Maybe the same with handball, you can't move. I think in this one you can run around when you have the ball, but the other people, I think they're called bludgers, they'll have balls that they throw at you, and if you get hit by one of them, you have to then drop the ball, or you have to throw it. So that's why it's not just you hold a ball, you run, you throw it in. There is strategy to the game. The snitch is the fun part as well, though, because someone, just a random person, has to be the snitch. Now, they don't have a broom or anything, and they run off. And the two seekers just have to chase them in a glorified game of tag. And when we used to do it, we used to go play out in a big field that had some sort of like trees and shrubs around the side, so the snitch would like run off and hide in there, and you'd have to run around in the underbrush and all that stuff. Yeah, if you it's not for the faint of heart. If you're scared of like the woods and whatnot, it's not the easiest thing to do, but it's a good laugh. It will kill you though. It is extremely physically intensive, but it's just hilarious at the same time. It kind of sucks in England because if it's too hot, you don't want to be running around in a big open field. But if it gets dark and cold, you also don't want to be running around in the field because you can't see what you're doing. So there's this sort of sweet spot, kind of early autumn, early spring, where it's getting lighter and it's a bit warmer, so you can actually go out and do it. Right, I've just got a note here that says blueberry problems, so I should probably explain that. I have a lot of blueberry products recently. It started out with a couple of weeks back I bought blueberry jam because I saw that the brand that I normally buy raspberry jam for had blueberry, and I'm like, oh, I love blueberries, and blueberry jam is really good. So I thought I'll buy it. I'll see what it's like because I needed jam at that point anyway, and it is really nice. But the thing is, it lasts a long time because I only use it on crumpets. If you don't know what a crumpet is, Google it. I'm not going to explain it because it's weird. It's a weird thing to explain. But then the next problem was when I was running out of cereal, I kind of switched back and forth between a couple of different ones. And this time I was like, oh, they have these thing called blueberry wheats, which are shreddies filled with a little sweet blueberry filling, basically blueberry jam. It might as well be blueberry jam at this point. So that's number two. So I had two blueberry things. And then the third thing is they had on offer a pack of just straight up blueberries that I thought, yeah, that's great. I can have them as snacks or with lunch or something. So at this very point in time, I have three separate blueberry items that I'm currently consuming. So it's a bit of a problem. I don't have an addiction, I swear. It's just a coincidence. I can't remember if I've talked about this before, but a little tidbit for anybody who's moving in with new housemates, maybe going off to university, or maybe going on like a school trip, if they ever stop being a thing, where you stay over for a couple of nights. I swear by wax earplugs. Wax earplugs are my life and saviour. Through most of university, I'm living with other people. So, for context, first year of university, I was in halls, so it was very noisy, generally at night, because everyone's moved away for the first time and they want to party and all of that stuff. So, music late into the night, wax earplugs, beautiful. Second, third year, I moved into a house with a couple of mates, and one of them was also a night owl and also didn't understand what headphones are, so they'd play a lot of stuff through speakers. So again, wax earplugs save you. Now you might be thinking, why don't you just get normal normal earplugs? Well, wax earplugs are really hard at first. And you kind of warm them up in your hands, and you put them in your ear, and your ear heat will warm them as well. And what that means is you can get a really, really good seal. Way better, in my opinion, than any foam earplug that I've had. And that just means that nobody can disturb you. You'll be in your own world, and it'll be great. The only thing is you do have to get used to them. It takes you a couple days to get used to sleeping with something in your ear, just because you're not used to it. And the other thing is you will hear your heartbeat initially, but your brain does learn to tune that out. But that's my small advertisement for wax earplugs. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed listening to my rambling, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.